Hello everybody and welcome to the CBZ Ruck Show, your weekly dose of school rugby action from around Zimbabwe. My name is Tadiro Chawafambira.
And my name is Shingrai Ferry, and I'm very excited to be here today.
So Shingi, before I ask how you are, I just want to make it a little easier for you this show. Why don't you just call me TC?
No problems with that, TC.
Anyway, so we've got a fantastic lineup for you this morning. We're going to be looking at St. John's alumni. His name was Eli Snyman. Chiedza was chatting with her, and we'll be hearing a bit more about that conversation. And then St. George's, St. John's. Shingi, you were there. What was the atmosphere there like?
You had to have been there to experience it. And I think if you watch the game as well on the YouTube channel or on the Facebook page, you'll also get a sense of the vibe that was there. It was amazing.
We are going to be chatting about that in this show. I was at PE versus Churchill. You know, the hype before the game was so much, and the first half belonged to Churchill. Second half, PE fought back. That was an absolute brilliant game. Did you watch that one?
I watched it as well, delayed, because I was on commentary for the Dragons and Rams game. But yeah, a lot to prove on both sides after PE's humbling last year at the hands of the Bulldogs. So yeah, excellent result for the Tigers there.
Excellent result indeed. Then Shingi, I'm going to be picking your brain, on schoolboy rugby, the state of schoolboy rugby in our country, as well as looking at results, obviously, from the past weekend, rankings, and also asking you to make some predictions for the rest of this season.
I am not a betting man. Never ask me to predict anything.
Well, you never know. There's no money involved here, but you might be able to predict well. We're going to be looking at what's upcoming for schoolboy rugby, national trials upcoming, and then obviously we'll get to the segment where we pick play of the weekend, try of the weekend, and obviously that kind of stuff. But for now, we're going to take a break and we'll be back with all this and more in a bit.
CBZ Bank brings you more convenience and more smiles. Introducing CBZ Remit. Now you can send and receive Forex anywhere in Zimbabwe without a bank account. No hassles, no stress. CBZ Remit is safe, secure, fast and reliable. Who can use CBZ Remit? Anyone. CBZ Remit is perfect for both CBZ account holders and non-account holders. To send or collect cash, all you need is your national ID or valid passport. US dollars or rands accepted. Receive your cash at any CBZ branch near you. 40 branches available nationwide for your convenience. CBZ Remit is very affordable. Charges only 2% of the money sent. Send and receive your Forex anywhere in Zimbabwe with CBZ Remit today. CBZ Bank, partners for success.
Welcome back to the CBZ Ruck Show. This is your local dose of schoolboy rugby from around Zimbabwe. Shingi, how much of it is it tough to prepare during the week for a derby over a weekend?
That is probably one of the hardest things to do in schoolboy sports, when you know that the gentlemen that go to school pretty much 5 kilometers down the Borrowdale Road are ready and primed and coming for you. You have to be at your best.
Absolutely. And you know what we do here at the CBZ Ruck Show? We focus and we look for all the people who have passed through our school rugby system. There are some out there, Shingi, plying their trade professionally. Eli Snyman is one of them. You remember him from his playing days?
Definitely one of the bright sparks in schoolboy rugby in his time, and who's now kicked on and has gone global. Blue Bulls, played in the UK, you name it, he is out there. And he is a shining light and a beacon of what these players can aspire to going forward.
Well said. Well, Chiedza caught up with Eli. Hear what he had to say about his time playing for the Rams.
Miss playing with my friends at school. I think when I played at school, it was different, you know, because you kind of grew up with the people that you're playing with, and you miss it a lot. There's nothing quite like school rugby, I'd say.
True. Speaking of school rugby as well, St. John's College versus St. George's at St. John's on Honeyfield this week. How are you feeling about that one?
Yeah, that's a massive game. I think if I cast my mind back to when I was playing at school, unfortunately that year, I have to admit it now, St. George's had our number a bit. They had a really good side that year, but it's just one of the games that everyone looks forward to during the season. You know, I'd say John's Georges is one of the biggest rivalries in Harare, in the Harare group of schools. It always has been for years, and I'm glad to see that it's still like that, So, and for the schoolboys, they're playing for bragging rights, So, it's a bit different. And like I said, I remember the games back then at St. John's. Oh, all the families are down to watch, all your friends, So, and you're playing for the rest of the school. The rest of the school will be there. So there's a lot on the line for those boys, and it's a big occasion, in terms of rugby and Zim. I'd say those derby games between your rival schools are definitely the biggest and the ones that'll stick with you forever, whether win or lose. I know.
Yes, that was Chiedza having a chat with Eli Snyman. What a career he's had, Shingi. I mean, and how important is it, do you think, that an alumni can still be in touch and, reminisce of his schoolboy days?
No, I think it's vital that these alumni can give back to these young men and women who are currently in school, because that hope, that inspiration of looking at what they can achieve post-school, it's important, because for some, just going to practice, game day is where their focus is, but there is a much bigger role or world waiting for them out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just thinking of some alumni from different schools. You look at Tendai Mtawarira. He was seen on social media saying good luck to the Bulldogs and good luck to the Tigers. And he was saying good luck to Peterhouse as well. Players like Sebastian Negri, who learned at Springvale, he's often seen saying good luck to Springvale. It's brilliant for alumni. If there's alumni out there who have come through the school system, what would your advice be to them?
To give back, to support. It's important, because some of our schools, especially, the traditional schools from back in the day, your Plumtrees, your Jameson High schools that have very good rugby programs over the years, are now struggling. They are struggling to maintain facilities, struggling to put kit together. And it's important that the alumni who have gone out and succeeded in their personal lives and their careers can give back. And they can do that also by having a look at some of these schools and some of the programs, by going through the Cairo Sports pages, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on Instagram, also to like and share those pages as well. But it's important to keep in touch and to also pass on something to the next generation.
Well said there, Shingi. We at the CBZ Ruck Show, we value alumni. We value everyone who's played school rugby here in Zimbabwe, and we look for them. And Eli Snyman himself played a lot in these St. John's Rams versus Dragons derbies, and we'll be looking at the past one, the one was played last weekend, after this break.
With CBZ Touch, pay for whatever you want, transacting on the go. With CBZ Touch, like that on my bills, take insurance, special loan. With CBZ Touch, pay for whatever you want, transacting on the go. With CBZ Touch, like that on my bills, take insurance, special loan.
Welcome back to the CBZ Ruck Show. We look at the derby that was played last weekend, St. John's Rams versus the St. George's Dragons. Shingi, you were there. Tell us more.
Dragons Rams, it gets no bigger than that. It was electric, it was pulsating, and it delivered. It gave everyone exactly what they were expecting.
I was doing the P.E. Churchill game, commentary for that game, and I remember after the game, the St. George's and St. John's game was still happening. It was 17-all at the time. I was talking to a friend, tuned back into the game, all of a sudden it's 22-17. I'm like, what? The Dragons did it.
Blink and you would have missed that ending. It was spectacular, and I'm sure everyone will be happy to see those highlights of how it transpired.
Yep, and we're going to show you the highlights right away.
Time by St. George's. So Stirrup sends it to the left. Honey fires it out to PK. PK on the ball, beating defenders, stretching.
Does he get over? No. Has he gotten over?
Is he over? Try time. PK fires it out. Another big pass. Who is that man? Big handoff. Is he over? Yes, he is. Try time, Rams. Oh, will Stirrup send it in midfield? Into midfield.
Tell you what, he misses my man.
Kruger.
Stefan Kruger.
Is he over? No, he's not. It's available. Stirrup.
Honey.
Gives it to Honey. One more pass, is it?
Tell you
Yes, it is.
Tadiwa Majga. Get in, son. St.
Yes,
John's.
it is. Over the line. No, he's not. He's short. So it's there. Ball is available. Pick again. Pick and go. Try time, Dragons. He's coming back in field.
And he's lost
Tries
it.
to find it.
As it's gone back.
Gone
apparently.
backwards. Over the
Right
top.
over the top.
Is it a clear run for the line? Try time. Dragons. Rugby. Try time.
Wow, what a game that was. All I can say is what a game, and congratulations to the Dragons.
Congratulations to the Dragons. Definitely, they showed character. I said it multiple times during the commentary, but they really did show character. They have not had the results going their way against the Rams for a few years now. But even during the course of the day, I think of the junior age groups, in fact, of all the teams, I think only one of the A teams only came through. That was the under-16s. So definitely the first team Dragons went out and righted a lot of wrongs for the school.
Absolutely. You mentioned character, Shingi. You're trailing 17-3 at halftime, and you win the game 20-7. Character, coaching's brilliance. I think it's a bit of both, isn't it?
It's a bit of both, but you also got to ask what happened on the side of the Rams. How did they cough up a 14-point lead when they pretty much looked like they were dominating throughout the match? And I went through the stats, courtesy of Athstat, and there's some very interesting reading there. I saw ball carries. The Rams had the better going of the ball carries. They had the better going of the double tackles that they made during the course of the match, but the penalty count was astronomical. The penalty count was so lopsided. You really have to ask the question: how did we get there?
You're right. Penalty count is definitely one we can just discuss a little further. 22 penalties conceded by the Rams as opposed to 6 by St. George's. What there a bit of ill discipline there on the Rams' part? Could the Dragons have capitalized more? I mean, 22 is no joke.
22 is a lot. Unfortunately, it's very easy to sit in the commentary booth and prescribe what they did wrong. But when the pressure is coming, when the heat is coming, and when the body language changes, when the buzz in the crowd changes, and everything seems like it's not sticking, then you know you're in trouble. And 17-point swing. It's a big one. It's a big blow to take for the Rams.
So that was the game between the Rams and the Dragons. The Dragons coming out winners 22-17. So congratulations to them. Don't forget to like our pages, give us feedback, share it with your friends. We want to reach as many people as we can. We're going for a short break. P.E. Churchill up next.
CBZ Bank brings you more convenience and more smiles. Introducing CBZ Remit. Now you can send and receive Forex anywhere in Zimbabwe without a bank account. No hassles, no stress. CBZ Remit is safe, secure, fast and reliable. Who can use CBZ Remit? Anyone. CBZ Remit is perfect for both CBZ account holders and non-account holders. To send or collect cash, all you need is your national ID or valid passport. US dollars or rands accepted. Receive your cash at any CBZ branch near you. 40 branches available nationwide for your convenience. CBZ Remit is very affordable. Charges only 2% of the money sent. Send and receive your Forex anywhere in Zimbabwe with CBZ Remit today. CBZ Bank. Partners for success.
Welcome back to the CBZ Ruck Show. We feature our next game. When we talk of local derbies, yes, St. George's is one of them, but you can't leave out P.E. Churchill.
P.E. Churchill, Tigers versus Bulldogs, Stripes versus Stripes, Jubilee, Nigel Phillips Field. It is one for the ages, and it has seen some of the greats take part in that derby. And I'm sure Saturday was another excellent display. You were there, TC. You were on commentary. How was it?
So the hype, the build-up, everything was just on point. The Churchill pipe band does its thing. I mean, I was actually laughing with Rimba on air that I've never seen a tunnel that is L-shaped. I mean, the guys ran in between the sticks and almost ended up on the 5-meter line of the other team. But that just shows the support that both sides had. PE took a final bragging rights, winning that one 29-20, but Churchill started very well. The kickoff, they were playing from left to right. They managed to phase it up all the way and bang, 7 points, to which Jeff Madake was up. Come on, boys. They started well. It was a wake-up call for PE, but PE had to slowly work their way back into that game. But Churchill, they just didn't capitalize enough. But again, similar to the previous game, this one, it wasn't one side conceding most penalties, it was both sides. I mean, there were 43 penalties in total, Shingi.
That is a very high penalty count, and I don't know whether it's a lack of knowledge of the laws, whether it's the players just being too desperate or too eager to try and get something going for their team. But definitely that is a high penalty count, and a lot of missed tackles as well. I saw the missed tackle count as well was pretty high there, but definitely that's a lot of penalties to concede.
And whilst we're on that penalties, a chance for you viewers to let us know what you think. There was an interesting penalty try awarded in that game. Let us know what you think in the comments. But what I find interesting, second week running, PE had less possession but have come out as victors in that game. What do you attribute that to, Shingi?
Well, PE has always been a strike team where when they get that ball, there's only one way they're going, and they go there very quickly and very powerfully, and usually they score. So they from watching the game, I watched it delayed, they don't really go through the phases a lot, but when that young man, Alan Mawunga, gets his hands on the ball, he scored that try, that 8-man try that looked like nobody could stop him. And definitely that's how PE are playing this year. Give them a sniff and they'll score. They don't need the ball, but when they do get it, they punish you.
And that's testament to their defense. They will hold the opposition. They'll defend well. You mentioned Alan Mawunga. When he came onto the field, Rui and I kind of looked at each other and were like, now it's on for the Tigers. And he scored immediately. He's a leader in that team. They look up to him. And PE actually changed the tempo of the game when he got on. But battles between Jeff Madake and Sean D'Souza will always be exciting, won't they?
Excellent. Now that battle will live long for a long time. Outgoing under-20 national team coach, the current under-20 national team coach as well. No love lost between the two of them, but definitely a battle for the ages.
Well, in case you missed that game, have a look at the highlights.
Ball is out. Big man goes through. He stretches over, and it's try time for Churchill. So they draw first blood. He has finally raised his arm all the way up. Wayne Kunaka, quick tap and go. He sees some spaces, pops it out. And Churchill are in deep trouble right now, well within their 5-meter. An overlap. They dive over, and immediately Prince Edward respond in 5 minutes at time. Oh, that was almost a missed tackle. Prince Edward have done a pick and go. Now into the 5-meter here. Kunaka looking for quick ball. Sends it out. PE will score here. And looks like he dropped the ball there. It is going to be a TMO. It is going to be a TMO. Did he drop it? Did he put it down? I don't think he put that one down cleanly. But nonetheless, Walter is the man that decides. Alan Mawunga wearing jersey number 125. And I believe this is going to be an 8th-man break. And I guessed it. I told you, and I knew it, and it's try time. There was no...
Those were the highlights. I can tell you just about 10 meters away from where I was in the commentary box, the PE mums can support their boys. They were loud. One of them almost got onto the field. Come on, Tigers! The passion from the mums was amazing.
Now, mums across the board are coming out in full force, whether it's at George's, whether it's at Hellenic, whether it's at PE. These mothers are passionate, and they will tack you down if you really mess around with one of their boys.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I found very interesting, and maybe this is a problem that we have in schoolboy rugby, in the green zone, in that final third, only 13% of the game was played in there.
That is not enough time to build pressure, to build sustained pressure in the red zone. And I think that's a lot to do with execution, because if you look at the turnover count between Prince Edward and Churchill, 20 turnovers won by Prince Edward and 24 turnovers won by Churchill. That is 44 turnovers in one match. that is either very good fetching and jackling and disruption of the ball, or that is very poor ball retention. And you can't enter a green zone and try to score if you can't maintain possession or hold on to the ball for more than a phase or two.
And I guess the youth in them, the exuberance in them, most penalties were quick taps. Even when they're pegged back in their red zone, Churchill was trying to play it quick. I guess you want to see running rugby, but from your own red zone, no, I don't think so.
No, Churchill conceded a try from a quick tap in their own red zone, where took a quick tap, 1-2 passes, they fumbled it, scrum for PE, and PE just went and scored. So those are the kind of coaching killer plays that our players make, and I will definitely touch on it during Presenter's License, the abolishment of the quick tap in schoolboy rugby.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I absolutely loved about that post-game was both coaches exchanging hugs. Players, I mean PE Tigers and the Churchill Bulldogs went under the poles, had a picture taken together. One thing that I've noticed from the schedule of matches this season, Shingi, is that PE is not playing Peterhouse, Churchill is not playing St. John's, it's not playing Peterhouse. How sad is it that the school rugby playing schools are not playing Churchill, PE and the likes?
It's sad, really. Great traditions like Centenary Day and Reunion have been disrupted. So Prince Edward and St. George's are not going to play home and away this year like they did last year. You've got Peterhouse, Churchill, which was a very big game over the course of the years. So a lot of disruption has happened, a lot of COVID enforced disruption. But yeah, something needs to be done to allow teams to play every other school so that we can truly say who is the number one ranked team in the country. Because I think after this, Churchill, probably their toughest opponent after this will probably be Lomagundi College. But as for Prince Edward, they play St. George's once and they play the Rams as well. So it's difficult then to really truly say that the number one tag can be passed to one school over another.
And I know from previous years that this is an issue of a lot of debate, a lot of talk. Let us know what you think. Give us ideas, what you think. How would you do it if you were in charge of the fixtures? That wraps up this segment. After the break, we'll be talking about the standard of rugby in our country and obviously giving you more results, because those two were not the only games. Stay tuned.
Every achievement, every record broken, every standing ovation. Every proud moment is a product of an empowering relationship. At CBZ, we believe in the strength of partnerships and growing together. Together, we have collaborated in building roads, offices, homes, and bridges. We have partnered in the fields, have gone down shafts, and blasted quarries, all while protecting assets, managing investments, safeguarding wealth, and helping you transact. We have supported big and small businesses and the ones in between with a helping hand or sound advice. As we celebrate what has been, we look ahead towards what can be. And while we can count how long we have been around, our achievements will always be quantified by your success. CBZ, Partners for Success.
Welcome back to the CBZ Ruck Show. I do hope that you are commenting. I do hope that you're liking, that you're sharing. This is the CBZ Ruck Show, your weekly dose of school rugby action from around the country. Shingi, we had a number of matches being played over the past weekend. St. George's, we've covered that game, winning 22-17 over the Rams. Congratulations to them. PE outdoing the Bulldogs 29 points to nil. Peterhouse, who not many have seen, have made it back-to-back victories so far. They beat Lomagandi 19 points to 7. Have you watched any of the Peterhouse games, Shingi?
So far, not yet, but I did see a couple of highlights of Peterhouse Hellenic. So I'm yet to watch that Peterhouse Lomagundi, but that was their first real test. And a lot of people waiting to see how they would come out of that particular game. And that is a very impressive victory for Peterhouse.
Very impressive. They'll be travelling down to Esigodini for their next fixture, so that'll be keen. We'll be keenly keeping our eye on that one. Falcon bounced back from their disappointment against the Tigers. They walked past CBC 57 points to 12.
Unfortunately, the Hornets had it tough going. The Mad Dogs were all over them from start to finish, and very good victory for them.
Very good victory indeed. Wise Owl pummeled Ridings 56 points to 3. Hellenic bounced back from their humbling by Peterhouse last week. They humbled Eaglesvale 42 points to 0. Gateway, they've now made it 4 victories, 2 at the St. John's Derby and 2 in the season. Yes, some would say they're not playing the big schools, but a win is a win. The Sykes impact there, I know he wouldn't want me to say this, sorry Sykes, but has definitely impacted Gateway Rugby positively.
Sykes Sibanda, he must be an oracle in rugby circles here in Zimbabwe. He is a wealth of knowledge, as everybody always says, but the results are there to prove that he knows his stuff. He knows how to motivate, how to coach, how to spot talent, and how to nurture talent. And we need Sykes in the system, and we need more people like Sykes out there to improve the quality of rugby across the board.
Well said, Shingi. Gateway winning that one 15 points to 7 against Heritage. Watershed and Hillcrest played out an exciting game by the looks of the scoreline. Hillcrest winning that one 27 to 19. Milton, here a lot of things are happening in Bulawayo there. Milton back on the rise. They beat Plumtree 20 points to 0. Plumtree of days gone by, years gone by, there was a serious team in the past, eh?
Plumtree was a very hard playing rugby school. I remember traveling in high school. My last year in high school, we traveled to Plumtree. That trip was long, it was arduous, and the whole night, they spent the entire night singing throughout the night. We were completely psyched out. We lost in Plumtree. Worst ride back to Harare after that.
If you know any Plumtree alumni, tag them, tell them to give back to their school and get rugby on the rise. Again, Petra and Western Suburbs played out to a low-scoring encounter. Petra winning that 10 points to 0. Alan Wilson, Dub, as it is called, PE's neighbours, walked past Tinwald 56 points to 0. So Tinwald probably still trying to get to grips with rugby, but it's good that we've got more schools playing rugby.
Definitely very good. And you'll remember last year, this Alan Wilson High School team beat Jeff Madaki's Churchill Bulldogs last year in over here by Prince Edward Street here in Alan Wilson High School. It was a close match. It was a fierce match, and Alan Wilson will feel hard done that this year they have not been given more fixtures or more prominent fixtures, and definitely they are one to watch this year. Absolutely are one to watch.
Shiggy, we've got rankings as well. Talk us through what's been happening with those rankings after the results from last weekend.
So rankings, the CBZ Bank Schools Rugby Power Rankings. Please do not shoot the messenger. I am just going to read them out as they come. Following on the weekend's results, the status has changed. We now have a new number 1. Sitting top of the rankings are Prince Edward Tigers with 81 points. And slipping down 1 spot from the top is St. John's College Rams, who are now sitting in 2nd place. But the points difference is so marginal, because in 3rd place you have St. George's Dragons, who are also on 80 points. So 81 points for the Tigers, 80 points for number 2 and 3. So it is very tight at the top there. And then looking down at number 4, Lomagundi College, holding firm at 4th spot, even though they lost this past weekend, while Falcon round off the top 5. And so that's 75 points for Lomagundi and 73 for Falcon. And then we'll just run quickly through the rest of the top 10. Peterhouse in 6th, Churchill 7th, Christian Brothers College in 8th, Kyle College Vikings in 9th, and Milton High School in 10th. That's the top 10. Any surprises for you there, TC?
Oh, no surprises. I think PE deservedly back on top. St. John's, I'm sure, will be wounded. They'll want to get back that first place spot. The Dragons will be wanting to climb as well. So will Falcon, so will Peterhouse. It just sets up for an exciting rest of the season, doesn't it?
Definitely very, very exciting. So from positions number 7 all the way up to the top, it's an 11 points in it. So any victory, any loss, you could see yourself climb or fall down those rankings at any point. But just to round off the 19 teams in the rankings, 11th place we have Hillcrest, In 12th place, we have Hellenic. In 13th, we have Alan Wilson. 14, Heritage. 15, Eaglesvale. 16, Midlands Christian College. 17, Gateway. 18, Watershed. And currently in the wooden spoon position in number 19 is Goldridge. So that is the 19 teams that make up the CBZ Bank Schools Rugby Power Rankings, powered by Athstat.
Thank you for that, Shingi. I'm sure the PE Tigers won't want to pull an Arsenal on their supporters.
Definitely not, definitely not.
Well, that concludes the rankings for this segment. When we come back, we'll be looking at the upcoming national trials over the weekend.
With CBZ Touch, pay for whatever you want. Transacting on the go. With CBZ Touch, my data, my bills, take insurance, special loan. With CBZ Touch, pay for whatever you want. Transacting on the go. With CBZ Touch, my data, my bills, take insurance, special loan.
Welcome back to the CBZ Ruck Show. We move on to our next segment. We're looking at what's coming up this weekend. National trials. The under-14s will be at Midlands Christian College. The under-17s and the under-19s will be in Esigodini. Shingi, they have to put their rivalries aside. They're playing on the same teams and they'll be having their eye on representing the country.
Definitely a different type of pressure, different type of challenge. So from trying to make first team, now you're quickly looking to make MASH or Midlands A and B, and then try to get on that bus to go down to Esigodini, and then trying to get that national team call up. It's very exciting, but also very, very nerve-wracking for these kids.
It is nerve-wracking indeed. So our under-14s will be playing in the Craven Week tournament coming up. Our under-17s will be playing in the Grand Como Week, and obviously our under-19s in the Craven Week. It is tough opposition. They're obviously playing against South African provinces, but South African province is almost as big as our country here in terms of rugby playing schools.
Definitely a big, big challenge. We've struggled over the years. The recent years, we've been finding it tough out there. But South Africa is the benchmark. They are the standard in Africa. And if there's anyone you want to challenge yourself against, we need to try to match them, or at least keep up.
Absolutely, well said there. And obviously, CBZ is fully behind schools rugby. Not only the big schools, not only the private schools. Currently going on is a development sevens league and also trials.
Definitely, the CBZ Rugby Initiative, it's a fantastic project. It's a fantastic initiative that CBZ Bank is funding, and it will be, I believe today we're at Ellis Robbins for sevens and for ladies under 18 trials. So it's important that rugby is reached, or the reach of rugby goes out to everyone who wants to be part and parcel of the game, and very proud to have CBZ spearheading this initiative.
Yep, and we don't want to leave any school behind. We don't want to leave any rugby player behind. CBZ is backing rugby, and we want you to back the CBZ Rugby Show, Ruck Show. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll be looking at Player of the Week, powered by Nutri-Active, Outstanding Players of the Week, and also the Try of the Week. Do stay tuned. Welcome back to the CBZ Ruck Show, your local dose of schoolboy rugby action from around Zimbabwe. We move on to the segment, the Play of the Week, powered by Nutri-Active. I mean, Shingi, it has to be the try that was finished off by Shenje, but it's just St. George's try to win it on honey.
Definitely one for the ages. Pressure, because there was a bit of a fumble in the build-up, but they managed to regather, set it up, big pass over the top, and Shenje had the big dive, and it was chaos, jubilation, and if you look across, the sea of red was ecstatic.
Yeah, it turned the St. George's fans into an absolute frenzy. Let's have a look at that try.
still available for the Dragons.
Held strong on defense by the Rams, but St. George is still plugging away at them.
Rams defense has been strong all game. Ball has been given some air in midfield. He's coming back in field.
And he's lost
tries
it.
to find it.
As it's gone back.
Gone backwards. Over the top. Is it a clear run for the line? Try time. Dragons rugby. Try time. Dragons rugby. We look at the final moments. There he goes. Shenje with nothing but the line in front of him. Writes himself into Dragons rugby folklore. Try time Dragons rugby. That is the ball game.
Welcome back. That was the winning try by the Dragons. Talk about timing, Shingi. You lead for the first time in the game. As you score the try, Talon Gandiwa says that'll be it for today.
That was heart-stopping stuff. The buzzer had long gone. It was the last play. There was a bit of a brain implosion by the Rams. You're on your 5 meter, you're on your try line, goal line dropout. You put it straight into the opposition's hand. But the Dragons still had a lot of work to do. They almost fumbled it, but they got over the line, and ecstasy for the Dragons.
Ecstasy indeed. I'm told by someone who was watching that one of the St. George's coaches did cartwheels. Is that true?
I didn't see. There was too many bodies in front, but I'm sure they were ecstatic with the victory.
Let's have a look at the other players who stood out in the matches that we covered. There was a PE boy, Wayne Kunaka. Rivimbo and I voted him player of the match in that PE and Churchill game. He was phenomenal. His decision making was good, and his kicking for goal was also very good.
No, he is a talented young man. He was distributing that ball with such authority and commanding the way that they were attacking. But that goal kicking, that is a thing of beauty, and I wish more players in the schoolboy leagues could kick like him. But back to John's and George's as well. Choto, the fly half from George's, he was exceptional with the way he was moving that ball around. But in the losing cause, you had two players that were highlighted. Tell us more about those young men.
Yeah, absolutely. The Churchill captain, their hooker, Joseph Tumba. I mean, he's a unit. And his line-out throwing was good. His ball carries were good. It was almost like they had an extra loose forward because he turned over a couple of ball. But sadly for him, they lost the game. And he was phenomenal. And I think Churchill will be looking for him to step up, and hopefully it rubs onto his teammates.
Definitely, he is a player of note who can influence a game. But also in a losing cause, where I was at on Honeyfield, you had the centre and the hooker from Johns, PK Manyarara and Wayne Malandu. Very mobile hooker, very good around the park. Big hits, big carries, and PK, as he's affectionately known, very, very mobile, very elusive, and good awareness of the game, and definitely very deserving, these young men, for the work they did over the weekend.
Very deserving indeed. I know, Shingi, you've been burning to say something all show. I'll give you the go-ahead to say it now. And let's see if you agree with Shingi. Again, it's an opportunity for you to let us know your thoughts. But Shingi, shoot.
Presenter's license allows me to say that I believe we should abolish the quick tap in the red zone. It is a coach's nightmare, it's a fan's nightmare, and it is a rugby watcher's nightmare. Too many kids, I don't know whether it's overexcitement, whether it's youthful exuberance, but especially in that Churchill match, quick tap in your red zone, you're still on the back foot, none of your players are set, and 1-2 passes, you knock on the ball, you cough up possession, and Prince Edward go on score from that very next play. I think a lot of coaching needs to be done, not just in terms of ball skills and handling, but on the mental or the psychological side of the game as well. How do we want to manage a game? I think it's very important that players, coaches get into the mindset that rugby is a long game, it's a hard game, it's a tough game, and you will burn out with these quick taps. It's a weapon, and it's a very effective weapon for Zimbabwe. We used it very well in Kenya. In both the Bartes tournament wins, but it can't just be willy-nilly, it needs to be controlled. And that, I just need to get that off my chest and just say we need to be strict on how we use the quick tap as a weapon going forward.
Can you see how he's sitting a lot more upright in his chair? He's got the weight off his shoulders. Let us know what you think. He says the quick tap must be abolished in the red zone. Let us know what you think. One thing I'm burning to say, and I've been given presenter's license. Alumni out there, wherever you are in the world, if you pass through the school rugby system in Zimbabwe, I'm challenging you. The CBZ Ruck Show is challenging you to feedback, come back to your schools, invest in your schools, because it's only better for the engrowthment of this game. What do you think on that?
Definitely, the more players or ex-players, the more ex-school, whether it's not just you played rugby, but if you have a passion and you see what rugby can do, the discipline that it instills, the camaraderie, the values, the fitness, and getting kids away from, bad habits and all sorts of extracurricular activities that are not, that are not savory. This is what you need to do. You need to go to your school, pick up a few rugby balls, go deliver them, pick up a few cones, go deliver them to your school, and let's get more kids playing in rugby. And if we beat Namibia enough times at under 20, we will finally beat them at the senior level, and we will get to that World Cup eventually.
Absolutely. We want to leave no one behind. That's who we are, the CBZ Ruck Show. We are reaching the end of our show. Sad moment, but from me, Tariro Chawafambira.
And from me, Shingra Vere.
Until next time, don't forget to subscribe, share, like, comment. Cheers.